Happy Monday! This was after my birthday weekend. Thank you to all the people who came over to my amazing backyard that we had at this incredible birthday party, and to my other second family where we got a chance to share my birthday in Napa by visiting multiple wineries and having this extraordinary dinner and visiting the Buck Institute of Aging. So again, thank you all. I made it around the world, the universe one more time, and hopefully I get a chance to do it again. Hey, if you're watching here on social media, make sure and subscribe, share, like, or comment. And if you want all the episodes of this amazing podcast, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online. And exciting, coming up October 28th through the 30th, you can go to this link, engagingvirtualmeetings.com/con, or scan this QR code, get a free or a paid ticket to my conference, the Engaging Conference, October 28th through 30th, here in Seattle and on Hybrid. So speaking of Hybrid, I got this amazing guest, right? He's a speaker and author of 9 books, including How Design Makes the World. And more importantly, he is a coach for something called Ignite Seattle here. And we're going to go find out a little more from him. Please welcome my guest today, Scott Berkun. Scott, what's going on today?
I'm good. How you doing, John?
Oh my goodness. Just trying to keep things going on the morning, having a little beautiful Seattle coffee. How about you?
Lovely. Yeah, I'm doing great. It's the weather's still good in Seattle, so I'm trying to live it up while we get a couple more weeks before the season changes.
Oh, you better hurry up too, because it already sprinkled yesterday. So
I
like,
know. I know. A little threat, little warning from Mother Nature.
little bit. But Scott, a few of my friends don't know who you are. So could you do us a favor, share who you are, what you do, and maybe share a little about what Ignite Seattle is?
Sure. So for 20 years, I've been a full-time author and speaker, and most of my books are business adjacent books. I did so much speaking after my first 2 books came out. I wrote a popular book on public speaking called Confessions of a Public Speaker. So anyone from the speaking world, it's probably how they know my name if they know who I am. And around the same time, an event started in Seattle called Ignite Seattle. This is about 2006. And at that time, there weren't that many speaking events. And the goal from the original organizers was to try to pick up the pace for public speaking. So the event format, it's a little bit like Pecha Kucha, that the format is 5 minutes long with slides that automate. And at first, the event was a bit of a gimmick. It was kind of a silly event. People had lots of disasters on stage, and that was part of why people came. But little by little, the event found an audience for basically open format public speaking and storytelling. And so for the last 20 years, the event has grown, and it's less of a geeky event, it's less gimmicky. And it's really the goal of the event now is to give everyone a voice. So we've invested for the last 10 years or 15 years in doing real serious first-rate speaker coaching for anyone who submits a talk. And part of our ambition is to put people on stage who are not professional speakers. Professional speakers are great, but we try to find voices from Seattle that are authentic voices, people who have a story or a lesson to teach, who don't really have a platform to do that. And they may be intimidated because speaking is scary for most people. So we encourage them to come in and we coach them, teach them their story, and help them to figure out how to get comfortable on stage. And then we put on events 2 or 3 times a year at Town Hall Seattle. That's our home base. It's been our home base for the last few years.
Genius, Scott. And congratulations, you have completed 48 and 49 is coming up. So you are actually sourcing speakers right now. And I'm just kind of curious, right? Again, as a speaker myself, I'm kind of sometimes one of your pros that you may not want. Although I do have a story that I was going to share that I don't normally share on stage, which might be also what you want. I'm
Right.
curious, what are some of the top things that you learned from 48 iterations of Ignite?
Well, the thing that I'm not sure if it's something that I've learned. The first thing I think of when you ask that question is why I've stayed involved for so long. And there's something about the process of people submitting a story and about a third of the talks we put on stage are personal stories of some kind, things you'd see at the Moth or at other storytelling events.
Yeah.
And a third of the stories we see on stage are often lessons, people who have some wisdom from life experience. It could be professional experience, and they're giving some insight into part of everyday life. And we like that.
Yeah.
But the most powerful thing for me is the journey people go on where they submit to an event like this. And we get about 60 to 100 submissions for 10 slots, 10 to 12 slots for each event. And they're surprised they get in. They come to our first speaker coaching session and they're really overwhelmed because we take it very seriously. We treat this like a show. And the
Yeah.
organizing team loves our speakers, but we make it clear to everybody we take this seriously. This is a big deal. And we get to watch them come in and realize, oh, I have to do a bunch of work for this. And we coach them and guide them for what work to do. And then we see them at rehearsal. We see them at the practice session before the event. And then we get to see them on stage. And that journey of seeing people go through that process has kept me connected to this event for now almost 20 years.
Wow.
So what have I learned? I guess the big lesson I have learned is the the depth of connection that stories provide. I mean, you know this, a lot of your followers know this because we're into the storytelling business,
Yeah.
but it is really this great renewable energy for people that we do connect with each other when someone is brave enough to get in front of a group and share something. It's just this amazingly powerful force. And sometimes I think I forget it, and the event helps me relearn it every time to see that process.
Hmm. You know, can you share a story too? Maybe like the talk that stood out the most to you in your 20 years. Do you have something that you might be able to share? Could be also the transformation part, like where they started and where they ended.
Yeah, I think it's probably some of the earlier talks that became personal stories because as I alluded to, this event started as a very nerdy event. It was very geeky. People would talk about their business or about, technological innovation, but then little by little personal stories started creeping in and we realized that there was much more value in those kinds of stories than in business stories or in stories about the latest tech innovation because those stories are popular everywhere. And they're also very forgettable stories than when we're talking about those sorts of topics. So the stories that come to mind are probably stories from like the mid 2010s when we were figuring out that the event was shifting in its nature. There was a
Mm.
story a gentleman gave, and I forget his name, but the title of the talk was um, When Life Hits You in the Face with a Shovel. And his story was about the birth of one of his children and their slow recognition that their child had some developmental issues.
Mm.
And this is a super personal story. I had done a lot of coaching up until that point, but I don't know that I had done coaching with anyone with that much of a difficult personal story. And that stretched me as a coach to realize this is not just a professional thing. This is a very personal thing to help someone tell the story about their lives. So we had a few of those talks, and little by little, that became a larger part of our program. Not because of some great leadership directive. It
Hmm.
became a natural thing our audience appreciated, and then we would get more submissions that were in that direction. And then little by little, we're like, you know what? Let's shift the event that way. We should be a culture and arts event and not a tech event. And so most people who come would never really know. There's a little bit of a hint of that history. Like one or two out of every 10 talks is a little nerdy. It's a little like geeky about some topic. Someone's a total nerd. At the
Yeah.
last event, we had someone who builds keyboards. They build computer keyboards
Oh yeah.
and they build gigantic ones and tiny ones. And the talk was about why he does this. And that's a pretty, esoteric topic, but it's about his passion for a thing. And everybody has a passion for a thing. So I'm rambling a bit here, but I think it's those stories that come to mind first when you say, tell me a story that I still remember. It's those personal stories because of the stakes for the speakers are so much higher.
Well, what about some without mentioning any names? I would love to hear some of the either most common, most frequent, or most memorable train wrecks.
Well, so one thing that is an interesting sort of behind the scenes challenge is the frequency of submissions we get that follow the same pattern of life coach, transformational journey story. And it does feel like there's a book out there that somebody wrote about how to pitch events on these kinds of talks because we can spot these so quickly now. And often the submissions, we know that the submitter may actually have a great story to share about this, but the submission is so generic and so absent of any personal connection
Yeah.
and also absent of any vulnerability. And as you know, vulnerability is one easy way to create stakes. There has to be something at stake for the storyteller, some
Yeah.
moment of fear or risk or embarrassment or uncertainty. And so we get these submissions. I'd say 15 to 20% of our submissions fall into this category of something happened to me and it was amazing. I've transformed my life. I will transform yours. And our our response is no.
Well, not on this stage.
Right.
Right.
Right, because we don't really believe that's really a story. It's you're telling us a meta story that
Mm.
it also tends to be very self-involved. And that's a natural thing that happens at storytelling events, of course, because I got a great story, right? People are going to show up saying and believing they have a great story, but there's a piece missing there. And so what we've been doing now for the last three events is if you submit a talk idea early, like before the early deadline,
Good.
one of the coaches, including me, will
Yeah.
give you feedback.
Yeah.
You'll get feedback by email.
Yeah.
Actually, you experienced this. You experienced this
I
this
did.
time. You just submitted a talk,
I did.
and we're still figuring out whether it's worth doing that. But we think it probably is because we want the
Yeah.
best possible submissions. We don't want people wasting their time.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a pattern that we see. It's like this. We can spot it quickly. It's like the same outline in these submissions, and they're almost never accepted.
Genius. Yeah, no, I would encourage you to do the feedback, whether of not people agree or not. I think getting real honest feedback from top people, even though it also too from your unique perspective, I think is also the other part, which is like, while that might work on some other stages, you're just trying to say it gives you the opportunity to say this is Ignite stage. This is what we stand
Yes.
for. If you want to like listen, then we'll help you, get on it if that's that's the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of where the feedback comes from is we really do care about the
Yes.
mission for this event of the
Yeah.
community and
Yes.
helping everyone become a better storyteller because we're all storytellers in our everyday lives. And so the feedback process is one way. Hey, you took the time to submit. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's what we think. And most times I've ever submitted to anything, you get no feedback. You get thank you, like nothing, which is so frustrating. So
Frustrating. Yeah, that's great. It's
we
a great
like it so
perspective.
far. I think we'll keep it, but that's part of the spirit of it is how do we build more community and reward people for even for trying? We want to reward people who are trying and they want to be invested in the community around storytelling.
Well, still on the train wreck part, I want to hear about a train wreck on stage. Because like, again, we're speakers and we've seen all the things of freezing, your tech not working.
Okay.
Yeah, like I just got a recording. She wore this big earring and all it did was clack on her microphone for 5 minutes straight.
Yeah. I'm reluctant to tell a train wreck story
No
that
names. That's right.
makes, yes, but you could figure it out.
Okay.
The one train wreck story that we recovered from because it wasn't the speaker's fault. So the event Ignite, like it's like Pechakucha, we have every speaker has automated slides. Every 15 seconds, a slide advances,
That's right.
and we do a lot of work to make sure that there's no AV problems at our talk. I think we are a first rate run event. We almost never have any problems of any kind of those natures because we know as speakers that that's like the worst possible thing. You prepared, you did everything right, and something happens you couldn't control.
That's right.
So for a few years, I was the MC for the event. And it happened once. A speaker got up on stage, they started their talk, and a minute into the talk, the laptop just died. Like PowerPoint died, the laptop died.
Okay.
And so the speaker is up there, what he's supposed to do. There's no slides. They're a minute in. And so this is part of why we believe having an MC is so important. So I'm the MC. I warmed up the audience. When
Yeah.
I saw this, I'm like, I didn't know what exactly to do, but I'm like, this is my job as the MC. So I went up on stage, I grabbed the microphone, and I started, ad-libbing and joking with the audience, apologizing and joking to the audience. And I'm looking at my tech team. Zach was the main guy, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to figure out how much do I have to stall for. And and then as we're ad-libbing, I realized, you know what? I'm the MC. It's our event. We can start over. So we had her start her talk over from the beginning. She got a fresh start on the talk. And our event is very resilient because we have cultivated a community that understands how hard public speaking is. We
Yes.
remind our audience at the beginning of every show they should feel lucky that they're sitting there with a beer.
And not
everyone, right? Everyone on stage has had to work for the last month. They're terrified. So you should feel really grateful and applaud and support our audiences. And I
Yeah.
think that we've cultivated that. And then when something like this happens, our audience is super supportive. They cheer them on. They'll whatever the speaker wants to do or needs to do to recover, they're there and helping them with energy and support. And I think it's a shame that we don't do this in general in our culture to
Yeah.
have more reverence and respect for anyone willing to get up on stage anywhere, you know? I think that's a really important thing sometimes we lose in our culture of how hard it is just to get up there at all, you know?
Number one fear still to this date. And number two is that, like, sometimes in these speaking programs too, especially with the speakers that you have, that's the transformational part, is they get to share their story on stage, right? A lot of times in National Speakers Association, the largest conference is called Influence. That's what happens. The stage still has that. Like a book still has that. Being an
Right.
author still has that. It still has a mystique around it because not everyone can do it and do it well. But when you do it and you do it well, I mean, there's no greater high, I think, that exists in the world naturally. So, okay, we're to the speed section of this interview,
Okay.
right? Scott, we got it down. So I've been writing some questions while we've been talking.
All
So
right.
I'm gonna ask you a question. You're gonna try and answer it as fast as possible. I'm gonna play some ridiculous sound effect. Okay?
I like it.
Okay, great. Best Ignite number and why?
Uh, wow. I gotta answer fast. Um,
I'll play the Jeopardy music.
well, my first answer was number one, just because it was such a weird. I spoke at the first one. It was such a weird event.
What?
I'd never heard of this stuff before. But
Wow.
then we had a stretch where we were at the Egyptian while Town Hall was being renovated. It was probably Ignite 42 through 45 or something like that. And I
Okay.
loved that venue. The Egyptian is much smaller, but more intimate, has more history,
Mhm.
feels like it has more history, even though it doesn't quite. So I love being at the Egyptian. That was a really fun place.
Oh, very cool. First speaking that you remember.
I gave a talk. I was a manager. I was like a team leader at Microsoft, and I was not a good speaker. I hated it. And I gave a talk, but I hated it, but I had to do it. I gave a talk. It was recorded. I watched the video of it, and it was just a disaster. I looked so angry. I'm a New Yorker. I can speak really fast. I gave every possible signal. I don't want to be here. I hate you for listening to this. It was really terrible. And I watched the video and I felt embarrassed because I was representing my team and their work. And so I realized I need to get better at this, even if I don't like it. And I got the only coaching I ever got, which was very helpful. He made me watch video and practice and worked on my pacing. But it's the only coaching I ever got. And then little by little, I learned to like it. I learned to like the challenge of it. How do you keep people's attention and how do you teach? And that's part of why this is now 25 years later. I still love it. I still love the process of trying to figure out how to use the stage and how to have a positive influence on the world through this.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
How about this? Uh, you worked at Microsoft?
I did. I worked there from 94 to 2003.
Oh, I'm a 90 through 99.
Okay, so we overlapped. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk some Microsoft later.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. What do you love about coaching?
I love helping people do something they're not sure they can do that is makes them personally vulnerable and protecting them and helping them gain confidence and then do the thing. And once you can do it once and you
Yeah.
break the ice on doing it once, I really am convinced it gets easier and easier in a certain way. So to help people do their first bigger talk, because we're at Town Hall. Our next event's October 9th, Thursday, October 9th. Town Hall is 800, 900 people. So for most of our speakers, it is by far the biggest audience they will ever speak at. That's a
Yeah.
large crowd.
As a
And
large.
so to help them do that, if you can do that and have fun with it and enjoy it, you can do 100 people, 50, which is far more of what people do in their working lives or, ordinary lives.
Genius. Oh, let's see. Wait, what did I have for you? How about this?
Wow!
Best book that's not your own.
Woo. Best book that's not my own. Oh, that's easy. Well, I mean, there's so many books. Um, best book that's not my own. I read a lot of philosophy. I like I can't remember the name of it now. I'm totally freezing. How do you coach a speaker coach who's freezing, John? Because I'm freezing right now.
One
I'm
of the
thinking
best parts is as an MC, we would step in and maybe start asking you questions saying,
Right. Right. Well, one trick is just to pause and seem like you're having a meaningful, thoughtful moment, even
Oh,
though
yeah.
your brain, right? Just go, So I'm trying to remember the name of Seneca's book. Seneca's a Stoic philosopher, and he has one book. It's his most popular book. I can't remember the name of it, which makes me embarrassed. That's what comes to mind because I've read that book many times. Um,
The most popular Seneca book is Letters from a Stoic.
yep. There you go.
Look here, wait, I just want to share with you. Wait, what happened? Oh, I was going to say, there we go. There's the internet at work.
Hey,
I'm just
there we go.
the fastest internet chatter that existed here. Okay, cool. What else can you play? What can you play on your guitar?
Oh, I can play a lot of just basic. I'm not. So here's the story about the guitar.
Okay.
Is I'm a high achiever type person, but I learned from a friend maybe 20 years ago. He said, Scott, you need to have a hobby for something that you're bad at. And I thought it was a really strange thing to suggest. And guitar is that for me. I'm not a good guitar player, but I love playing it. I love playing the guitar. And
Okay.
I'm primarily a writer. I write books. Writing a book is a very craft brain, like precise thing. Picking up a guitar is the opposite. I can put my fingers in a couple of places and move my hand, and it makes this beautiful sound. And I like that. It's relieving, it's physical. I also sing badly. So I will play bad guitar and sing at the same time. It just gets me out of my head, gets me back in my body. And I have almost no ambition to like I get better little by little because I play so much. I have no ambition to ever be good. And I think that's a really important. This advice I got from my friend Richard Stokely, I think is one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten. Just to enjoy it. Do what you enjoy. You don't have to be good. You should enjoy it anyway.
Genius. My college login name was Fender, so I actually play guitar. I'm a karaoke jockey, so we can do all of those things
Ooh, okay.
badly somewhere. What else are you passionate about?
Food. I like to cook. I like to eat. Yeah. I play basketball. I'm 53. I still get to play 3 times a week. I feel very lucky.
Yeah, your
I
knees
played
are
in high
so
school and in college.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to do, and I don't know how I'll replace that, so I'm a little worried about that. But other than that, I enjoy food, music, books, storytelling, and conversation with good people, which is where food comes into play. Food is a huge anchor at making that happen.
Talk over meals, right? Talk over
Yeah.
meals. Okay, best advice for those interested in Ignite that you haven't given yet.
Come to the event. It's so much fun. I think we do a great job of making it an event, unlike some storytelling events that are just the stories and there's no real show going on. We try to make it feel like you're at a show. There's an MC and there's a host. There's activities that go on in the lobby before the event and at intermission. Town Hall's a lovely venue, so you should just come. It's not expensive by design. I think we're relatively inexpensive, $15.
Yeah.
Thursday, October 9th is the next show. You come and then you get an idea. You're like, oh, it's like storytelling, but a little more fun around it, a little more space around it. And that's the best way to get ideas for submitting is to come to the event first.
Okay, last quick question. What's a wish you have for the rest of 2025? And then we're out of here.
Wish I have for the rest of the year. I don't know. I don't think that far ahead. I'm thinking a day at a time. For the rest of the year, I'm working on a draft of a new book, and I'd like to have that done well before the year is out. So I'll just say that.
Outstanding. Scott, thank you so much. I'm going to see you Ignite either on the audience or on the stage or behind the stage. I don't know, somewhere. But go check it out. Just search Ignite Seattle 49 or 50. The 52 is coming up, and they're going to do something special. We're not going to talk about that yet, but just look it up and keep an eye out for it. Scott, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much, John, for having me on, and helping spread the word about Ignite.
Outstanding. Thanks, Scott. All right, this is John Chen, and we're here. You know, Scott said, right, share your message, share your story, and think about the craft. All right, and I love the other part. Do something badly, but do it because you enjoy it. Hey, if you enjoyed this, make sure and subscribe, share, like, and comment. Get all the episodes here on engagingvirtualmeetings.online. Over 100 episodes and a new episode every Wednesday, coming every week regularly. And if you want to find out how to be more engaging, like on an Ignite stage or somewhere else, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/CON, scan this QR code. And if you want to be like Scott, Just go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/meet, select interview, and you too could be the next guest here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. Hey, I'll see you next time.
Drawing star people and keep